I don't have just a ton of comments as far as what happened out there, but we got accomplished what we wanted to get accomplished. I really commend the fans. I don't know what the attendance was, but the turnout was fantastic, which is, the Children's Hospital is obviously very grateful for the contribution that we give them. But the fans were great. The players enjoyed it, just getting out there and being able to play football. I've said this all spring. We've got a long ways to go. It was good seeing a couple of guys step up and make some plays offensively, defensively. Made a couple of field goals, that sort of thing. So, the team that we field in September is going to look a lot different. We just got so many new guys that are coming in. We got so many young guys that are going to continue to develop. So I left it with the team. This phase 2, which is spring ball, is kind of over. Phase 3 is going to be incredibly important. The next 14 weeks, what these guys do, they got to keep playing. Not only do they got to keep playing from a strength and conditioning standpoint, but they need to get out there and keep playing football. So, a lot needs to happen in the next 3.5 months leading into August camp. But guys are in good spirits, good mood, and I've said that since January 1. They're eager. I love their attitude. I love their willingness to learn. And if you get a group like that wants to keep getting better, then we should just keep getting better. So with that, I'll take some questions, get into some specifics on offense, defense, players, that sort of thing.
What were some of the things that you achieved today that you were hoping to see, you're hoping to get work on?
Well, you want to get through it. I mean, after 14 practices and, going 75 plays of live football, you want it to resemble football, which I think it did resemble football. I'm not saying it was football at a high level, but at least it looked like football. And then you want to come out with it healthy, obviously. I mean, you don't want to put guys in situations where they got rolled up. The only instance that scared me just a little bit was that last drive. Glowinski got rolled up, and all I could think about was Josh Jenkins back on the last drive a couple of years ago getting rolled up. So we got out of it healthy, got out of it in good spirits. Guys need to turn attention to academics here in the next 2 weeks, and we talked about that as well.
We're not happy with Jordan Thompson last year. He had what looked like a decent game today.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, he did last spring too. He will go down in the history books as the greatest spring game player of all times. So until he actually does that in a game, we're gonna call it and say it like it is. So I haven't seen him do that in a game yet. So until he does that in a game, we're gonna not talk about it.
After today, are you ready to name your starter for next fall?
At what position?
Quarterback.
At quarterback. Not only are we not ready to do that at quarterback, we're not ready to do that at about 20 other positions as well.
Did you see anything today? I mean, what did you like out of those guys, out of Paul Ensworth?
Nothing much. I mean, they got to keep getting better. Is how we're going to treat those guys right now. Chavis has been getting reps in practice slowly. We've been bringing him along. He's obviously just got a long ways to go as well.
Talk about Will Clark and what you expect from him this season.
Starts with leadership. The guy has played a lot of football. He's one of the few guys on our team that's just played a lot. I feel good about our defensive leadership with Will, with Shaq Rao, with Darwin Cook. Those are some guys that have played quite a bit of football. Broderick Jenkins has played a lot of football. Travis Bell's played football. Doug Riggs played ball. So we got guys defensively that are older, mature, been through the ringer, so to speak. So really like where we're at from a leadership standpoint defensively. It's night and day with where we are offensively.
Dana, you mentioned Travis Bell. Is he a full-time corner now?
We made that switch 2 days ago. Maybe again we'll evaluate he made one play where the receiver just forgot to block him. Well, I probably could have made that play, and then on his interception he undercut it, but the ball was so underthrown that I'm not saying I could have made that one, but I would have been in position to possibly make it. So my point is we will study the film for different things, but he's embraced it, and he was excited about it. So that he's not a 210-pound kid. He weighs 178 or 180. So and he can run fast, and he's got great conditioning. So it's an experiment that we talked about a week ago. We moved him and embraced it. So we'll keep looking into it.
What will the next 14 weeks be like for yourself and the rest of the coaching staff until August? Just game planning?
Well, no, not a whole lot of game planning. I mean, we got 12 practices of tape that we'll cut up, and we'll study what we're doing as far as what we're good at, what we're bad at, what we need to work at. The film will be available in all these rooms for guys to come in and look at it on their own. We can't spend any time with our guys unless we call and have a life skills meeting, or we sit down and talk to them about academics or something. We're not able to coach them for the next 14 weeks. So our attention turns to recruiting starting tomorrow. We'll be on the road recruiting. I won't personally, but the assistant coaches will for the next 5 weeks, out there recruiting, which obviously never ends, but the NCAA lets us go out and actually evaluate and all that stuff. And then it turns to camps. We'll have 2 weeks of camps, which is really recruiting is what it is. And then we'll take a little bit of vacation time before August starts. So, we're switching gears, but we still got to keep up with our guys as far as making sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing and holding them accountable for what they need to be doing as a student athlete. That never ends.
What have you seen from Dreamius throughout the
some flashes, of some pretty good stuff. We're asking more of him than he's been asked of in the past. I mean, from how we practice, from a receiving standpoint to a pass blocking standpoint, from a running standpoint, he shows some things that look pretty good, and then he gets wore down and doesn't look very good. That's a typical new guy, whether it's a freshman, whether it's a junior college guy. When you're new, you got a lot to learn. I like where we're at running back. Bowie was having a good camp, before he popped a hamstring, which he'll be fine. Garrison looks like the guy he was 2 years ago. Wendell Smallwoods exceeded all my expectations, what he'd be like as a high school guy, coming straight out of high school. So all four of those guys show glimpses of being able to carry the ball, and they all bring something a little bit different to the table. So I think we're in good shape there. Best shape we've been since I've been here.
How would you assess the spring of Garrison and what he's been able to do?
Good. He was very unsure of himself early, and then the more he did it, the more he planted on it, the more he bumped it, the more confidence he got in it, and the better he started playing. So he's making cuts that he used to make. His confidence is getting better, and his obviously looks a little bit better than he looks a heck of a lot better than he did a year ago. Seems how he didn't practice.
How do you evaluate pressure on the quarterback in a scrimmage game? I mean, is it good defense, bad offense for you?
Well, the combination of both. I mean, we're going 1s-on-2s, so the first team D-line should get pressure on the quarterback. It was a little discouraging that our first team offensive line gave up as much pressure as they did. That's why I stand back there. I'd rather be, on the sidelines or calling plays or something, but I stand back there because you got to have somebody in a neutral role that blows the sack button. But we've improved defensively rushing the passer. We've probably regressed a little bit offensive line-wise as far as pass protection. It hasn't been our emphasis. We've really emphasized running the football, and we've gotten better at it. But you can't get good at everything in spring. So we'll assess where we're at, and we'll come up with a plan with what we do in August.
Do you expect one of your quarterbacks to separate themselves and would it disappoint you?
Better.
Two still dead even.
Somebody better. At some point in time, they better.
Would you be opposed to playing both?
I would. Never have. Every time that we went into a camp, or every time we came out of spring without a leader, at quarterback, it's been a battle in camp. But by 3 weeks into camp, somebody usually separates themselves.
What did Coach Crook bring to the table this spring? I mean, in terms of run game standpoint, you said that was an emphasis on the offensive line.
Yeah, he's great, from a run game standpoint. And again, I'm not taking anything away from him from a pass protection standpoint. It just hadn't been our emphasis. It was what we felt like we needed to get better at, post 2012. So we've gotten better at just with Pat level and coming off the ball and trying to establish the line of scrimmage. I think we've really improved on that.
You had a lot of playmakers last year, big playmakers.
Really?
Yes. I noticed that. Do you see some of that here? I mean, the potential of having that pop forward?
Oh, yeah. We'll have guys that can make plays. I'm very confident in that. Each and every year that we've lost great players, the initial reaction is how are we going to score a point? And then other guys step up. So we'll have guys step up. We got a whole bunch of receivers that will be competing their butt off all summer and all camp. So we're going to have guys step up and make plays. They may not be here yet. We got 4 guys coming in that, in my opinion, are pretty good playmakers. So you add those guys into the mix, and there's going to be a whole bunch of competition. And which guys embrace that competition? And if, sometimes it takes a bunch of competition for somebody to actually emerge. Those are the guys that we're looking for. So I feel very good about somebody doing that. I just don't know who they're going to be yet.
You want to name the 4 that you got coming in?
Yeah, we got Shelton Gibson, who is on the sidelines today. We got Ronald Carswell, who is on the sidelines again. Jackie Marcellus is coming in, and Mario Alford is coming in. So there's 4 guys that we feel good about coming in that have the ability to make plays in space.
Connor Arlia was named a double award winner in a pregame ceremony. What have you seen out of him? Why did you decide in both those instances to name him?
Just a tremendous. He's a tremendous kid to start with. He's a West Virginia kid. He comes from a great family. He's academically as good as they come. From a work ethic standpoint, doesn't get any better than him. He's a guy that you want on your team, he's not the most talented kid that we got. He just works his tail off and has earned a right to be able to be on this team and be able to be out there on that field.
Dana, maybe your playmakers or maybe your most veteran players on offense, they seem to be running backs, right?
Correct.
When you think about going forward or what just happened, when you have that much there, and it's a little bit different than what you've had in the past where it's pass throwers, pass catchers, does that sprinkle your thinking at all about how it might look in the fall, or does it just make what you do running better? That simple?
Yeah, I think it just makes it better. But we did come into spring with the emphasis on being able to be a good running football team, which I one of the reasons why Ron Crook was hired. It helps that he's a West Virginia guy, but the fact that he's pretty good at teaching those guys to come off the ball and smack people in the mouth, and we wanted to get better at that. And Coach Patterson and I talked about that a bunch in the offseason as well, as far as defensively, that helping us defensively. So that's been an emphasis, and again, when you have a young team, you can't get good at everything. So you kind of got to pick about the things that you want to work on and try to get good at that stuff.